This morning I've been very careful in paring down my readings to 5, all of which have some comment on the spiritual experience. And to help me read the readings, I have assistants here. So those who are going to help the readings, please come up. The first reading is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's a description of a spiritual experience. Crossing a bare common at twilight under a clouded sky, without having in my thoughts any occurrence of special good fortune, I have enjoyed perfect exhilaration. I am glad to the brink of fear. Standing on the bare ground, my head bathed by the blithe air and uplifted into infinite space, all mean egotism vanishes. I become a transparent eyeball. I am nothing. I see all. The currents of universal being circulate through me. I am part or parcel of God. And then Mary Oliver has a comment about spiritual practice.
Let the immeasurable come. Let the unknowable touch the buckle of my spine. Let the wind turn in the trees and the mystery hidden in the dirt swing through the air.
And then Zen Buddhism has advice for the spiritual practice.
Try not to try. Quit trying not to try. Quit quitting.
The sermon comments on the balance or the yin and the yang between spirit and receiving and grace and will and determination and fortitude. And this poem comments on the will side of that equation.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
And then Unitarian Universalist Minister Rebecca Parker has a comment on what we receive from the spiritual sources.
There is a love holding me. There is a love holding you. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love.
The sermon describes the spiritual life. I offer it hoping to support you in your spiritual lives and to remind us all of the support and peace the Spirit brings. The spiritual life includes the spiritual experience, an experience of union. It includes an understanding of the Spirit as a oneness, a source. It includes spiritual practice, a cultivation of the spiritual life. The spiritual journey, a quest into the mystery where one receives spiritual sustenance. And the soul, the organ that yearns for and receives the Spirit. The spiritual life gives support and transcendence. It generates theology, gods and beliefs. and ethical action for peace and justice. In a spiritual experience, for a moment, one shifts from seeing the world as composed of separate components, oneself among them, to realizing the union of all, being included in that union and feeling peace. This experience comes with three intensities. Emerson's was very intense. Glad to the brink of fear, transparent eyeballs, currents of universal being. The Spirit can also slip in like a breath barely noticed. This has happened to me, maybe you too, such as on an ordinary walk in the woods. For a moment, I pause in awe. This hillside held no outstanding beauty, just trees, an easy path, and a glimpse of the oneness of everything. If you notice your spiritual experiences, wonderful. If not, they still breathe life into you. Indeed, as a third intensity, without your awareness, Spirit unites you with all. Even if you do not notice a spiritual experience, you benefit from its effects. Spirit is our source of life, love, and energy. If you are alive, loving others, and living with energy, you can thank spiritual sources. Spiritual experience can happen in solitude or with other people. Conversing or silent, touching or making eye contact, sometimes a transcendent experience occurs. The Spirit connects us. The theologian Martin Buber called it the I-thou experience of union with another person. My wife tells of a moment in a busy airport, suddenly loving everyone, rushing to catch their planes. And so with earth-shaking intensity, quiet subtlety, or completely unnoticed, alone or with someone else, spiritual experience occurs. You do not do anything to create a spiritual experience. As such, it is like sleep. While sleeping, you do nothing. And your body heals, your mind files experiences into memories and cleans out amyloids, like the brain's trash. It is as if a nighttime janitorial crew organizes the files and shines the floors so you can greet the morning refreshed and clear thinking. We surrender to sleep and receive this gift. And so we surrender to spiritual experience and receive its gifts. As a gift, spiritual experience is also like breath. We breathe, usually without noticing, and receive the gift of air, which fills and sustains. Indeed, the word spirit derives from the Latin spiritus, meaning breath. We receive spirit like breath, and it fills and sustains us. This theme of sustaining breath appears in the book of Genesis, as God creates the first human out of clay, then breathes the breath of life into this person. And so you and I receive the breath of life. Thank you, God. We can cultivate breathing, opening ourselves to receive the air our bodies need. We can cultivate our spiritual life similarly by opening to the Spirit. Mary Oliver opens to the Spirit, saying, "Let the immeasurable come. Let the unknowable touch the buckle of my spine." People then practice meditation, prayer, devotional reading, acts of service. They go to church, sing in choirs, walk in the woods, take pilgrimages, fast, gaze at the stars, dance, form human relationships, all to open the soul and welcome the spirit. Even with a spiritual practice, one does not control the spiritual experience. The relationship between spiritual experience and spiritual practice reminds me of a scene in the movie To Have and Have Not, with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. In this scene, Bogart and Bacall are having a little repartee when Bacall sits on Bogey's lap, calls him a stinker, and gives him a kiss. Bogey, looking uncharacteristically dumbfounded, asks, "What'd you do that for?" Bacall replies, "Been wondering whether I'd like it." Bogart asks, "What's the decision?" Bacall, "I don't know yet," and she kisses him again. This time Bogart is more involved in the kiss. She concludes, "It's even better when you help." The Spirit gives you unexpected smooches from time to time. It's even better when you help. You do nothing to make them happen, but better when you help. Nevertheless, I cannot command a spiritual experience to occur, at least not successfully. Zen expresses this effortless spiritual practice with the suggestion, try not to try. Relax into the Spirit. Let it breathe its life into you. So the monk, someone like me, earnestly focuses on not trying, hoping to get it right. The master sees the monk strain at not trying and suggests, quit trying not to try. The monk is confounded. If the spiritual experience is not under one's control, what do? The answer, stop thrashing, you're buoyant, just float, is difficult. So the monk tries to quit trying not to try. The master sees this and suggests, all right, quit quitting. Let the immeasurable come. Allow grace. So confounding when one wants to command the spiritual experience. Wanting the spiritual experience reminds me of a friend out walking on a beach one day and hearing the other beach walker calling out, "Blessings come!" My friend thinks, really? So demanding. And the woman, "Blessings come!" And my friend thinks again, well, why not? You go, girl. Demand your blessings. And the woman keeps shouting, "Blessings come!" People can long for the Spirit. The soul yearns for its presence. That yearning, lifted up to the mystery, is a sweetly vulnerable part of the spiritual practice. And the woman again, "Blessings come!" And as my friend was musing on the spiritual implications of this woman's cry, out from the dunes runs a yellow lab, wagging its tail. And the woman greets the dog and continues walking content that blessings has returned. And the dog lopes off along the surf. I think the Spirit is like that, not under our control, but loving us, wanting to be with us, and bounding up with blessings. Spirit's blessings are life, love, and energy that well up from some mysterious source, raw and unformed. Like a muddy spot on a hillside where water wells up from the ground. And after welling up, that water is channeled into a stream. And so spiritual gifts, the raw materials of life, love, and energy well up, and our will channels them into how to love, who to love, how to live, and what to do. To some people, the Spirit or God does everything and controls every action, and their personal will goes along for the ride. It sounds lofty and pious to be so spirit-driven, but when I hear this attitude, I want people to own responsibility for their choices. To others, it is all will. It sounds impressive to have a powerful will, master of my fate, captain of my soul, and so forth. But I'm concerned about such people and their resolute self-reliance. I realize it is unnerving to trust and relax on the Spirit's infinite ocean, it being mysterious and out of our control. And will is what we know and control and trust. People that work hard, try to be perfect, and do enough good deeds to earn peace. Preachers emphasize choosing the right thing and doing good. That application of will can work for a while, but without opening to the Spirit, I'm concerned that people would strain. It'd be like running a marathon while breathing through a straw. Furthermore, reluctant to yearn for that infinite Spirit which they cannot control, people might direct their desiring energy instead onto something finite, which they can control. A substance, a behavior, an idol, as if that would bring salvation. But idols do not fill the soul. And when focused on obsessively, idols become addictions, harmful to the idolatrous and to other people. Instead, people direct their yearning to the mystery, and sometimes peace, like a happy dog, comes bounding up. Regarding the blessings Spirit brings, it breathes aliveness into us. It gives us a pulse, a vitalizing energy. Straining in the world can drain our energy, but the Spirit recharges us. Spirit gives us love. Rebecca Parker described a love holding me, a love holding you, a love holding all. We all rest in this love. It is a friendly cosmos, helping humanity become friendlier. Related to love, Spirit is about union. The Spirit lives in connections, wholeness, and oneness, not separations and divisions. It links us to all, to each other, and to the world. On my walk in the woods or Emerson's across the common, there's a sense of oneness with all. Being about oneness, union, no boundaries, Spirit has an infinite quality. Sane life requires boundaries, but in spiritual life, all is one infinitude. With this union, connected to the trees, the ground, the air, I belong. I'm home. Belonging gives me peace. This oneness also has ethical implications. If I am connected to all, what affects others affects me. So I care about my brothers and sisters and want to support them. And such belonging saves. At peace, sustained and supported, at one with all, we are saved. And when you need it most, when on your journey you're lost or alone, when you're almost done and have nothing left, your willpower exhausted, the answers you once had seem wrong, you do not love but hate, when the night is too dark to see, when you are lost and in a free fall, when you cry a prayer of yearning, I am scared and alone, Spirit come, blessings come. This longing like a crack in the impervious will, a crack through which the Spirit can enter, the Spirit's loving hands find you and slow your fall. And there you rest alive and aware. Instead of lost and alone, the Spirit unites you with all and loves you, which saves you. This happened after my father died. I was a kid, 17, and felt lost without him. So I went hiking for a week. During my hike, I passed through 3 consecutive days of rain. On the first day, I felt annoyed. On the second, depressed. On the third day, I realized my life had shattered, and the clouds poured relentlessly, and I surrendered and let the tears pour with the rain. And the trail beckoned me onward, as if saying, this is the place to be lost. There was no mystical moment, yet some intangible support breathed into me with each plodding, muddy step, leaving me eventually at peace. This spiritual experience is so meaningful, yet so difficult to talk about. I can sort of describe my moment in the woods. Emerson can tell you his, but words, even Emerson's, can't quite convey the mystery. Furthermore, spiritual experience defies words by being about oneness. Words form boundaries and definitions. So when I say chair, you think chair and not something else. But in union and oneness, there are no boundaries, and then no words. Indeed, one defining quality of the spiritual experience is that it is ineffable. Furthermore, the conversation can feel awkward. I mean, Emerson's neighbor comes up, hey, Waldo, how you doing? Great, Charlie. Just the other day, I was a transparent eyeball. Oh, really? Yep, the currents of universal being circulated through me. I was part or parcel of God. Yeah, nice. Well, the guys are coming over to watch the game. I gotta go get some chips and salsa. See you later. And yet we use words anyway, hoping to convey a hint of this valuable mystery. As the Spirit eludes words, people use similes and metaphors. It is like sleep, like breath, like the welling up of a spring. It gives us unexpected kisses. It gallops up to us like a yellow dog and loves us with boundless love. Its hands catch us when we are lost and falling. Theology, gods, and beliefs give us further ways to describe the Spirit in words. Emerson theologizes when he's saying he felt part or parcel of God. Others might say, God was present in that moment of union, or God spoke to me. In the story of the spiritual life, God is a character, symbolizing the Spirit's glory. But words, even God, make the Spirit into one more object, which it is not. To use words, but not about the Spirit, we can talk to the Spirit, which is prayer. Dear Spirit, dear mystery, this morning we have gathered to take a few steps on our spiritual journeys. Sometimes on those journeys, I and others feel lost. Sometimes the world seems lost and careening away from your love and peace. Other times, life is not much of a journey. The routine is just routine, and people hunger for meaning. Give us again and again the breath of life. Offer us moments that link us to each other and to the infinite, that show us we belong. Grant us the peace that passes understanding. In the end, thank you for filling our souls and giving us what we need for our lives and for our world.